Just write it down there, will you? Telephone number as well. Ever been here before, sir?
Yes, about a year ago.
Hmm?
Inspector, there's quite a crowd gathered outside. Can't you send them away?
Well, they'll come back faster than they go, sir. I was going to suggest we left by the garden. Isn't there a gate at the far end?
Well, yes, but it may still be locked. I'll just check.
How much does he know about you and Mrs. Wendis?
What are you talking about?
You wrote a letter to Mrs. Wendis from New York. It was found in the dead man's inside pocket. I didn't mention it because I wasn't sure how much Mr. Wendis knew. Have you any idea how it got there?
No.
Where's Tony?
He's just gone into the garden.
Mrs. Wendis, when you lost your handbag, did you lose a letter as well?
No.
Margot, it was found in this man's pocket.
You did lose it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I asked you that before, didn't I?
Yes, you did, but you see, my husband doesn't know about it.
This man was blackmailing you, wasn't he?
It's no good, Margot. Tony will have to know about it now.
No!
It's the only thing to do. Inspector, after Mrs. Wendis lost my letter, she received these 2 notes.
Last February. How many times have you seen this man?
I've never seen him.
Mr. Halliday, I would like you to come along with us.
Yes, of course.
Mrs. Wendis, when you come to the police station, there may be other police officers present. I shall warn you first that anything you say will be taken down and may be used in evidence. Now, never mind what you've told me so far. We'll forget about all of that. But from now on, you tell us exactly what you know about this man and exactly what happened last night. And if you try and conceal anything at all, it may put you in a very serious position.
I wish you would explain to me what you mean by all this.
I will. You admit that you killed this man. You say you did it in self-defense. Unfortunately, there were no witnesses, so we've only your word for that.
But I heard it all, Inspector, through the telephone.
What exactly did you hear, Mr. Wendis?
Well, I heard a thud, and...
Did you hear anything to indicate that a struggle was going on?
Well, what I heard was perfectly in line with what my wife told me had happened.
So all you really know of the matter is what your wife told you, isn't it? You suggest that this man came in to burgle your flat, but there is no evidence of that. There is evidence, however, that this man was blackmailing you.
Blackmail?
It's true, Tony.
You suggest that he came in by the window when we know he came in by that door.
But he can't have gotten in that way. That door is always locked. My husband had his key with him, and mine was in my handbag here.
You could have let him in.
You're not suggesting that she let him in herself.
At present, that appears to be the only way he could have gotten in.
Don't you even believe I was attacked? How do you think I got these bruises on my throat?
You could have caused those bruises yourself. A silk stocking was found outside the window. It had 2 knots tied in it. Does that mean anything to you?
I suppose that must have been the stocking he used.
We found the twin stocking wrapped in newspaper at the bottom of this waste paper basket. Can you explain why your attacker should do that?
No!
Those stockings were yours, weren't they?
No!
We know they were. One of the heels had been done with some silk that didn't quite match. We found a reel of that silk in your mending basket.
Tell me, there was a pair of stockings in here.
Well, I've heard of police planting evidence to guarantee a conviction. I just didn't realize they did it in this country.
These men were here all night. They could have done anything with those stockings.
Of course they did, and they wiped his shoes on that mat. Hello, Roger. Tony Wendis here. There's been an attack, and there's been an accident, and Margot was intact.
Oh, what's your mother?
No, she's all right now, but the man was killed. And you're not going to believe this, but the police are here, and they're actually suggesting that Margot killed the man intentionally.
I wouldn't say that if I were you.
Well, that's a good one.
Yes, it's a laugh, isn't it? Listen, Roger, can you come round to the Maida Vale police station immediately?
Be there right away.
Thanks, old man. Don't worry, Roger's on his way.
Mr. Witness, I should advise you.
Our barrister will give us all the advice we need. Thank you.
Use your back, Marco.
Thank you, Max.
Oh, you are coming, aren't you, sir?
But of course, Inspector.
I see, yes. I just wondered.
Liz, take the black pea coat off the stage, off the hook, off the tree. There you have it.
Great.
Oh, what?
Now this one will light.
Margaret, I'll take care of it. Yeah, take that coat out of it. That black one, yeah.
How's my train of thought?
Give her some light, Amber. And, yeah, and kill the fire too.
No, the fire's on.
So he asked, are you cold, I'll start the fire for you.
Oh,
I know, you always put it up, well, sorry to be an asshole. That's all. Amber, drop 20. And actually go back to dark set. Okay, start scene and go back to your settings. This is where we head down. This is where we head at half light. Mark that down. Everything but everything but the thrust, just little lights. A little higher, right? Okay. Yeah, drop that. That's just, yeah, that's good. Yeah, there. Well, that's it. Okay. Talent, go. export of fruits and vegetables. Agreement has now been reached for the export of quota to be originally asked for to be lowered by 12.5%. The Home Secretary has written to the lawyers of Mrs. Margot Wendis to say that he has decided that there are not sufficient grounds to justify his recommendation. Nicholas Kelly? After Let's go back to that. Eric, where are you?
I'm here.
Okay. Right here, too. Tony, take it back again. Out the door.
Can't hear back here.
I know, but when you leave that last scene, she's right there.
No, I have things to do.
Oh, shit.
I can't be dressed up to go to prison.
Okay, that's why we had that little radio necklace. We ready?
Yeah.
And Nicholas, okay, cue tell. The main obstacles were the export of fruits and vegetables. Agreement has now been reached for the export of quota to be originally asked for to be lowered by 12.5%. The Home Secretary has written to the lawyers of Mrs. Margot Wendis to say that he has decided that there are not sufficient grounds to justify his recommendation. At the Old Bailey last November, Mrs. Wendis was found guilty of the murder of Charles Alexander
Sorry?
Swan and was sentenced to death.
Down the steps?
The official forecast is that there will be light rain
kidding
and
me?
showers in all districts today. Frost is expected again tonight, especially in the south. Time is now 11 minutes
No,
past.
I'm coming around this way.
That's the end of the meeting. The main obstacles were the export of fruits and vegetables. Agreement has now been reached for the
Hello?
Mr. Wendis,
Yes?
Pendleton here.
Oh, hello.
Have you decided about the letters?
Yes, I'm afraid the cost of the defense has been rather high. I'm afraid I shall have to ask 500.
500? I'm only asking for the letters.
Well, that's all well and good, but how would you like your wife's letters read by millions of people?
I'm prepared to offer 350.
No, I'm afraid I've rather made up my mind.
Could you at least give me a little time to think this over?
Of course, think it over. Only I'm going away a day after tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll have to bring you back.
Hello, Tony.
Hello, Max.
May I come in?
Oh, of course. You're quite a stranger.
I'm sorry I haven't been around before. I wasn't sure how you felt after.
That's all right. It's a little chilly in here. I'll start the fire. I haven't seen anybody for days. I'm getting quite used to it. I've had to move in here because people kept stopping and staring in the bedroom window. After the appeal failed, they started climbing into the garden. Can't blame them, I suppose. It's cheaper than the zoo and far more topical.
Well, I had to come in case there was anything.
I'm afraid it's too late. We received a letter from the Home Secretary this morning.
Well, you mustn't give up trying. It's not over yet.
I'm afraid it is. I went to the prison this morning to say goodbye, but she refused to see me. Actually, I was rather glad. She never did like goodbyes. I'm dressed here. I shan't see her again.
Tony, I take it you'd do anything to save her life,
Of course.
even if it meant going to prison for several years?
I'd do absolutely anything.
I think you can. I'm certain if you tell the police exactly the right story.
The right story?
Listen, Tony, I've been working this out for weeks just in case it came to this. It may be her only chance.
Well, let's have it.
You'll have to tell the police that you hired Swan to murder her.
What are you talking about?
It's all right, Tony. I've been writing this stuff for years. I know what I'm doing. Margot was only convicted because nobody would believe her story. Prosecution made it out that she was telling one lie after another, and the jury believed him. But what did his case amount to? Only 3 things. My letter, her stalking, and the idea that because no key was found on Swan, she must have let him in herself. Now Swan is dead. You could tell any story you like about him. You could say you did know him, that you met him, and worked the whole thing out together. Now the blackmail. Swan was only suspected of blackmail for 2 reasons. Because my letter was found in his pocket, and because you saw him the day Margot's bag was stolen. Well, you could now tell the police that you never saw him at Victoria, that the whole thing was an invention of yours to try and connect him with the letter.
But the letter was found on his body.
Well, because you put it there.
Wait, so you're suggesting I should pretend that I stole Margot's handbag?
Well, sure, you could have.
But why?
Because you wanted to find out who was writing to her. When you read my letter, you were so angry, you decided to teach her a lesson.
But I can't say I wrote her those 2 blackmail notes.
Why not? Nobody can prove that you didn't.
All right. I stole her letter and blackmailed her. What else?
You kept my letter, and you planted it on Swan after he'd been killed.
But when could I have done that?
After you got back from the party, and before the police arrived. At the same time, you took one of Margot's stockings from the mending basket, and then substituted it for whatever Swan had used.
Max, can you imagine anyone actually believing this?
You've got to make them believe it.
Well, I wouldn't know what to say. You'd have to come with me.
No, I couldn't do that. They know the sort of stuff that I write. If they had suspected that we had talked this out, they wouldn't even listen.
Max,
They just know I've been here.
it's ridiculous. Why should I want anyone to murder Margot?
Oh, one of the stock motives. Had Margot made a will?
Well, yes, I believe she had.
Are you the main beneficiary?
Well, I suppose so.
Well, then there you are.
Well, but thousands of husbands and wives leave money to each other without murdering each other. They wouldn't believe a word of it. They'd take it exactly for what it is. A husband desperately trying to save his wife.
Well, it's worth a try. They can't hang you for planning a murder that never came off. Face it, the worst you would get would be a few years in prison.
Oh, thanks very much.
And you would have saved her life? That doesn't seem too big a price.
Well, that's fine coming from you. Her life might not be in danger at all if it hadn't been for you. It was because of your association with her that she lost the sympathy of the jury. I mean, it's got to be believable. How would I convince Swan to do a thing like this?
You would have to say, you offered him the money.
What money? I haven't got any.
You would have Margot's money.
I wouldn't be able to lay my hands on that for months. And people don't commit murder on credit. No, I'm sorry, Max. We'll have to come up with something better.
All right, we will. There is an answer. And we've got to find it. How much time have we got?
It's tomorrow morning.
Shh.
Oh, hello, Inspector. Does this have to do with my wife?
No, sir. I'm afraid not.
Oh, well then how can I help you, Inspector?
I'm making inquiries in connection with a robbery that took place about 3 weeks ago.
Or can't this wait a few days?
Yes, sir, I am very conscious of your position. If I may, I would like to say how very sorry I am.
Yes, all right. How can I help you?
A cashier at a factory at Ledbury Street was attacked in his office, and two men made off with several £100, mostly in pound notes.
Well, what's all this got to do with me?
In cases like this, all police divisions are asked to keep a lookout for anyone spending large sums of money.
I see.
I was wondering if you had sold anything recently for cash.
Why?
My sergeant happened to be making inquiries at Wales Garage the other day. It appeared that you had settled an account there recently for just over £60.
Yes, I happen to have quite a lot on me, so I paid cash.
Had you just drawn this money from your bank?
Have you been to my bank, Inspector?
As a matter of fact, I have. They wouldn't help me. Bank statements are always jealously guarded. Where'd you get it?
Is that any of your business?
If it was stolen money, yes, sir. It is my business. Do you mind if I smoke? Go ahead.
Do you really think I've been receiving stolen money?
Well, until you tell where you got it, I shan't know what to think, shall I? You see, if you had got that money from someone you didn't know, well, that may be the very person that we're looking for. Oh, hello. I say, is this yours, sir?
What is it?
Somebody's latch key. It was lying on the floor just here.
No, I've got mine here.
No, it's not yours. Well, it may be mine then. Ah, yes, it is. Why, it must have fallen out of my pocket. There's a small hole there. Well, that's the trouble with those keys. They're all alike. I'm sorry, sir. You were saying?
I don't think I was.
Ah, yes, about that money. I'd be grateful if you'd tell me where you got it. After all, £100 is quite a lot to carry around.
You said 60 a moment ago.
Did I? Ah, yes. Well, my sergeant did dig a little deeper before he put in his report. It appeared that you had also settled an account, paid a bill at your tailor's, and another for wines and spirits.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry your sergeant went to so much trouble. If he'd come straight to me, I could have explained it straight away. I simply won rather a large sum at dog racing.
Over £100?
Yes, over £100. It has been done before, you know.
I see. Well, why didn't you tell me this straight away, sir?
Because I'm a little embarrassed to be caught going to dog racing with my wife under sentence of death.
Oh, I know how it is, sir. Helps to take your mind off things. Well, that answers everything, doesn't it? I'm sorry to have had to bother you at this time.
Not at all, Inspector.
Oh, there is just one other thing, sir. Do you have a small brown attaché case?
Don't tell me you found it already.
Why? Have you lost it?
Yes, I was going to report it this afternoon. I believe I left it in a taxi. How did you know about that attaché case, Inspector?
Oh, the wine shop mentioned that you had it with you when you paid your bill. So my sergeant checked back in with your garage and your tailor. They both remembered you having it with you when you paid them.
Yes, I use it instead of a briefcase.
Well, these taximen are pretty good at turning things in. I hope you'll find it all right. Oh, Mr. Halliday.
Before you go, Inspector, I think Mr. Wendis has something to tell you.
What's the matter with you?
Where did you put it, Tony? When I was in here just now, there was a small attaché case. I can't remember just where I saw it, but... Got the key, Tony?
Just a minute. Why did you say you left this in a taxi?
I thought I had.
there's no key, we're gonna have to open it some other way.
Max,
Why, there must be over 500 pounds here. Where did you get it?
I can tell you why he got it. That money was to have been paid to a man named Swan, after he had murdered Mrs. Wendis in this room. As you know, there was an accident, so it wasn't necessary to pay Swan after all. Obviously, he could produce all this without questions being asked, so he's lived on it. He's been living on it ever since the 28th of September.
Well, Mr. Winters,
Just now you said you'd do anything to save Margot. Now what's changed your mind?
before you came, Inspector, Mr. Halliday was trying to convince me to go to the police with the most fantastic story you've ever heard. Apparently, I hired Swan to murder Mrs. Wendis. That's not all. I stole her handbag, and correct me if I'm wrong, Max, I sent her those 2 blackmail notes. What else, Max?
And you planted it on the body. And that stocking that was found.
Oh yes, the stocking. Perhaps I'd better tell it. It may sound more like a confession. You know that stocking of Mrs. Wendis's that you found? Well, apparently I substituted it. Is that the right word, Max? For the other one. You understand. You know what I mean. What else, Max?
He told Swan he would hide his key somewhere out here. Probably on this ledge. Swan let himself in, then hid behind the curtain. And then Wendis phoned from the hotel and brought her
now
around.
just a minute. If Swan had used Mr. Wendis's key, the key would have still been on him when he died. But no key was found when we went through his pockets.
Well, come on, Max. Your move.
Swan could have taken the key from here, unlocked the door, and then returned it to the ledge before he went in.
All right, Mr. Halliday. This is all very interesting, but it isn't getting me any nearer what I came to find out.
But this is a matter of life and death. What else matters?
What matters to me is where Mr. Wendis got this money. That's all I want to know.
We'll soon find out how long he's had it.
Now what's the matter?
There you are, Inspector. The last check he wrote was on the 27th of September. That was the day before all this happened. I tell you, he's been living on it ever since. Here's his bank statement.
Well, he hasn't drawn any large sums from his bank. Nothing over 53 pounds.
But just look at these, Inspector. Nearly every week. 35 pounds, 40, 45, 35. He could have saved it up.
Oh, of course. I could have been planning all this for years.
Where did you get it?
Are you sure you want to know? I promise you, Max, you won't like the answer.
Come on.
All right. You asked for it. When I got home from the party that night, I found Margot bent over the body, searching for something. She kept muttering something about that he had something of hers, but she couldn't find it. She was nearly hysterical. That's why I wouldn't let the police question her that night. In the state she was in, she would have told every lie under the sun. The next morning, she produced that money, just as it is now. And she said if anything should happen to her, that I should make sure the police didn't find it. So after she was arrested, I took it, and I put it in a check room in Charing Cross Station. Whenever I needed money, I would take it out and then check it into some other check room. You see, she was just about to give it to Swan when she decided to kill him instead.
Do you expect anyone to believe this?
Well, I've really no idea. How about it, Inspector?
Well, it certainly seems to fit in with the verdict of the trial.
You're not even going to check up on this? She's being hanged tomorrow.
All of this has been out of my hands for months. There's been a trial and an appeal.
Of course it wouldn't do you much good, would it? You would have to admit that you arrested the wrong person.
I think you ought to go.
You better go. But you made one mistake. What will happen when Margot hears about this?
So she'll deny it, of course.
And perhaps she'll change her will. You will have done all this for nothing.
Suppose I had come to the police with that wild story of his, Inspector, would anyone have believed me?
Not a chance, sir. Before nearly every execution, someone comes forward like this. This must have been very distressing for you, coming as it did.
Do you think they'll let him see her? I don't want her upset just now.
Have a word with your barrister. He might be able to prevent it. And I should get that money into the bank before someone pinches it.
Yes, thank you. I think I will. Thank you, Inspector.
Well, goodbye, Mr. Witness. There is just one more thing. I was asked to tell you. There are a few things belonging to Mrs. Witness at the police station.
What sort of things?
Just some books and a handbag, I believe. They would like you to come along and collect them sometime.
You mean after tomorrow?
Yes, or today, if you like. Just ask the desk sergeant. He knows all about it. Well, goodbye, Mr. Witness. I don't suppose we shall meet again.
Goodbye, Inspector. Thank you.
Chief Inspector here. Get me Sergeant O'Brien, quick.
O'Brien.
Hubbard. Look, O'Brien, I've got back in again. Start the ball rolling.
Yes, sir.
What are you doing here? What's the idea?
Where's his bank statement?
Never mind about that. You've got to get out of here, quick.
Have you got it?
Shh! Not so loud.
Don't you see?
Shut up! If you want to save Mrs. Wendis, keep quiet and let me handle this.
You?
Shh! You nearly ditched us then. I should have locked you up.
What is all this?
They talk about flat-footed policemen. May the saints protect us from the gifted amateur. You'd better prepare yourself for a surprise, Mr. Halliday.
Somebody at the door.
Hello, Max. Where's Tony?
He's gone out.
When will he be back?
We're not sure.
All right, Thompson. Was it you who rang just now?
Yes. Why didn't you let me in?
You've got a key. Why didn't you use it?
I did, but it didn't work.
And you know why, don't you?
No. Has the lock been changed?
May I have your bag? You knew this wasn't your key, didn't you?
No.
Your husband has explained this, you know. You can tell us all about it now.
What is it? I don't understand.
No, I don't believe you do. Why don't you sit down, Mrs. Witness?
What's going on here?
Thompson. Sir, take this bag to the police station, will you? Yes, sir. Wait a minute, you clot. You can't go down the street looking like that. Here, put it in this.
Margot,
Yes, sir.
what is this? Why are you here?
I don't know. About an hour ago, the warden came to see me and said that I could leave. And two detectives came and brought me here. And they popped around the corner. But then I couldn't get this door open. When I went back out, the policeman was still there, and he just said that I could go. So he walked me around to the garden. Where's Tony? They said that he was supposed to visit me this morning, but he couldn't make it. Has something happened to him?
No, nothing. Inspector, do you think you could tell us what you're up to?
Mrs. Wendis, what I have to tell you may come as a shock.
Yes.
Well, we strongly believe that your husband had planned to murder you.
He's right, Margot. He arranged for Swan to come here that night and kill you.
How long have you known this?
Did you suspect it yourself?
No. Never. And yet What's the matter with me, Max? I don't seem to be able to feel anything. Shouldn't I have a breakdown or something?
It's a delayed reaction, that's all. In a couple of days, you're going to have one hell of a breakdown. When did you find out?
Oh, the first clue came quite by accident. We discovered that your husband had been spending large numbers of £1 notes all over the place. It ran into just over £300, and it appeared to have started just about the time you were arrested. Now, I had to find out where he got this money and how. So, yesterday afternoon, I went to the prison and I asked to see your handbag, and while I was doing this, I managed to lift your latchkey. Highly irregular, of course, but my blood was up. And then this morning, when your husband was out, I came here to look at his bank statement. I never saw it, because I never got through that door. You see, the key I had taken from your handbag didn't fit the lock. Shh, don't make a sound.
Wilson,
Sir,
who was
Windus, sir.
it? Which way did he go?
Hold on. Towards the police station, sir.
Right.
That was a near one.
I don't understand. Why have you brought me here?
Somebody answer the phone!
That's him, he's supposed to do it. He's supposed to say Bentonville Police. Yes, sir. Bentonville Police.
Sergeant O'Brien?
Yes, sir, arrived.
Pardon. Look, O'Brien, he's just found out about his rain coat. He's just come back and couldn't get in. Has Thompson arrived with the handbag?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now give Mr. Windus those books and the handbag and make sure he sees the key. Better make him check the contents and sign for it. And if he asks for his own key and raincoat, tell him I've gone to Glasgow.
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
No questions.
Right. Call me back when he leaves the station. Well, Mr. Halliday, have you got it?
I don't think so. Oh, where is Mrs. Windus's key?
It took me just half an hour to find it.
But if it was there, why didn't Windus use it just now?
He didn't use it because he doesn't realize it's there. He still thinks it's in his wife's handbag. You see, you were very nearly right. He told Swan to put your key under the stair carpet, Mrs. Windus, and then return the key before he came in.
And it's been out
But
there.
as Swan was killed, he naturally assumed that your key would still be under the stair carpet. That was his, he assumed that your key would still be in one of Swan's pockets. That was his little mistake. Because he did exactly what you suggested, Mr. Halliday. He unlocked the door and then returned the key before he came in.
And it's been out there ever since. And the key Windus took out of Swan's pocket and returned to her handbag was
Swan's own latchkey. Even I didn't guess that at once. At first I thought perhaps your husband had changed the lock. It always surprised me that no key was found on Swan's body. After all, most men carry a latchkey about with them. Then I had a brainwave. I took the key that was in your handbag to Mrs. Van Door's and unlocked the door of her apartment. Then I borrowed a telephone and called Scotland Yard.
I don't understand. Why have you brought me here?
Because you were the only other person who could have possibly known that that key was outside. I had to find out if you knew it was there.
Suppose I had known.
You didn't.
Oh. Max,
Yes, darling.
I think I'm going to have a breakdown now. Oh.
Chief Inspector here.
Yes, sir, he's just left the station.
Good. Try and hang on a little longer. Greetings. Greetings. Williams.
The handkerchief.
Aaron Page!
He's just left the station. Give me a thump if he comes this way.
Yes, sir.
What happens now?
Sooner or later, he'll come back here. As I've finished his key, he'll have to use the one in your handbag. And when that doesn't fit, he'll realize his mistake. Put two and two together and look under the stair carpet.
But if he doesn't do that, all of this is pure guesswork. We
That's-
can't prove a thing.
That's perfectly true. But once he opens that door, we shall know everything.
What will you do then?
I'm to phone Scotland Yard. They're standing by for my call now.
And Mrs. Windus?
We'll have nothing else to fear.
All right, Margot?
Yes, I'm all right.
Quiet now, you two.
Roach just